don't feel safe at our house. We're uncomfortable.
We just want our lives back.
My tenants want to break the lease, and they're coming up with wacky stories.
He never believes any of the evidence that we've shown him. He just downplays everything. It's like talking to a wall with this guy.
They would be honest and just admit that they can't pay, we wouldn't be in this spot.
I want Dr. Polo to be able to let us out of this lease so we can move somewhere else.
We want her to understand our experience. We need to get out of this house.
We can't stay there no longer.
What I want for Dr. Polo is to see through their lies, that they're just making up stuff not to pay me. I need my money.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Anna Polo Rules. Okay, here we are with Andrew and Stacey, who are the petitioners in this case, the plaintiffs, and they are suing Mr. Jim Clark, who is their landlord. Yes. Apparently, you entered into a rental agreement, but the fact is that you want to break this agreement and you want to have no penalties for it. In other words, you want your security deposit of $2,000 to be returned to you, and you also want the last month's rent of $1,650.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. So I need to know why. What's happening?
Let me start. I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. This whole experience has me unnerved and disturbed, to say the least. The things that we've gone through in this apartment have been overwhelming.
We wanted just to be able to break this lease so we can move on somewhere else because we are not. Living in our place is terrifying. There's things.
But let's start clarifying it. Let's keep it calm, and we're going to figure everything out. All right. What's the relationship between you two?
He's
This
my
is my
boyfriend.
girlfriend.
Okay, so you're a couple.
Yes, we live
All
together.
right.
We live together.
You rented this apartment.
We signed a one-year lease.
A
I got a job
one-year lease.
transfer.
Do you have a lease with you?
Yes, I do.
Let me have it, please.
I don't have the lease with me. I have proof of the security deposit, first and last.
Okay, you have the lease. Let me just have the lease so that I can have it here. These are documents that I'm going to need right away. All right. Okay, so you're giving me proof of your deposit, of your security deposit, and how many months have you lived in this apartment?
3 months.
We're on
3
we're on the
months.
third month,
Okay,
yes.
so you want to break this lease.
Well,
on the
haven't
third
really
month.
In the third month, we haven't really stayed there too much.
Okay, why did you rent this apartment in particular?
Well, I got a job transfer up to New Orleans, and we thought it would be a great time to get our first apartment together. So
Okay.
we both signed the lease together, and she's building her credit. And everything was great for about the first month, and then I started noticing a change in my girl. She started becoming a different type of person. She was radiant and happy, and then things started changing.
As soon as we moved in there, everything just felt heavy. Like, when you walk into a place and the energy just feels like it feels uncomfortable.
To say the least.
I was angry all the time. We would fight for no reason. I was just moody. So I kept telling him, I'm like, I don't know, when we're outside of the house, it's fine. But inside the house, I just couldn't take it anymore. So we started talking to friends. They recommended maybe go see a medium, maybe see, I don't know, what's going on. So
medium?
For the energy of the house,
just to see-
Wait. Prior to moving into this apartment, you went to see the apartment.
Yeah,
Yes,
we went
it
to
was
I
school.
mean,
great.
everybody
it's
does
fine.
that, right? You don't rent
Yeah.
an apartment just because.
No.
You went to see this
Yeah.
No, we
apartment.
found
was-
it was a nice apartment.
Okay,
The place
you
was
liked
beautiful,
the
air was
apartment,
great.
Yeah.
and the first moment when you walked into it, you didn't feel the heavy energy.
It was fine. As soon as we moved in, like our first day home, where everything was just there, I don't know, it just felt weird. I've been having a hard time sleeping.
But could
I
it be
didn't
your
feel- see, I didn't feel
hormones?
that
Could
for
it
the first
be
month.
something you're going
Heavy
through?
energy is when they
Everything
ran
is
out of
fine
money
in-
to pay me.
Everything is fine.
That's the heavy energy
We've been paying on time. We have jobs.
Money is not the
Not a
issue
problem.
here.
I have bank statements to
Yeah,
prove that I
right.
have plenty of money for this.
Okay, so this is not a financial
No,
problem.
not at
today.
all.
Not at all.
I have a job. He has a job. So
Okay, wonderful. So you just started to feel uncomfortable.
I haven't been able to sleep. Sometimes I can't stay by myself at the house.
Why?
Tell
I
about the
feel
lights, the lights.
okay. So I come home one day and everything is dark. He's at work. I usually get out a little bit earlier, and I see this like light. A ball of light just like floating around. So I was freaking out and I was like, I got out. I was like, I'm not doing this. There's something
But
not.
wait a minute.
It just
It's-
Wait a minute.
They probably
A
didn't pay
ball
their
of
light
light
bill.
floating. Wait. a ball of light floating. Did you notice whether the light was coming from the outside, a window? Sometimes there are reflections.
Correct. I turn around, everything is pitch black. No cars, there's no
Okay,
light.
Did you
was the
turn the light on
chupacabra.
in the
Yes, I
apartment?
turned the no.
The
no,
chupacabra was
I
there.
just walked
Hey,
out.
stop
I
belittling
just
her,
walked
okay?
out. I walked
Why?
out
Why did
because
you
I
turn the
felt
light
scared.
on?
Okay, I've been feeling uneasy at my home. So after that, I told him what was going on. He wouldn't believe me. He's like, "Oh, maybe
I
you're
was
just
at
going
work.
crazy.
I
You're
didn't get that
stressed."
vibe for like the first month, and then I started noticing things too, and to tell about that
Okay,
noise.
so I'm sleeping. We're sleeping. I wake up all of a sudden, scared. I'm like, "Did you hear that? I thought somebody broke into my house."
I was
okay?
asleep, and once you said somebody might be in the house, I sprung up, and right away, I went downstairs. I got my phone. I turn on my light on my phone, and we start going downstairs, and I start looking around. I didn't hear anything. She's like right behind me.
It just felt like somebody was like pulling a chair, like and like hitting the fridge. So I'm like, "There's somebody downstairs." I'm like hitting him. I'm like,
were
"There's
reading
somebody
the
so
downstairs."
you go
probably,
downstairs.
you
I go downstairs. I look
And what
around.
did you
I went into the
discover?
living room. I went into the living room. I looked at the windows. I checked the back door. I checked the front door. Everything
There's
seemed
nobody
fine.
there.
Everything was fine. So I'm like, all right, we're talking in the kitchen. Everything's good. We're about to go back to bed. I open the refrigerator. I get something to drink. I go to shut the refrigerator, and then we have pictures on the refrigerator of her sister,
family,
or her family,
our dog, like
stuff that's personal. And then all the pictures were spun upside
You're
down.
not gonna believe this one.
Yes.
Now there's pictures.
No. I have proof.
we even took a picture of
Okay.
it.
You took a picture of the pictures.
I shut the door,
on.
and they were right
Again,
side up, but
do
then
you
they turned
understand?
upside
I mean,
down.
this is
No,
difficult to believe.
But we have like
Right, because
there's more.
anybody can think, okay, so they turned the pictures around, they took a pictures of the pictures
Of course.
upside down.
Of course.
Thank you.
Right?
Of course, but that's not the only thing, and that's the
Your
problem.
Honor, I have a video.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll watch the evidence.
I've never seen anything like that happen in my life. So I'm over there.
What is that?
If you were to move a can, it would just fall over. It
You're
wouldn't-
right. I mean, this is definitely very strange.
Polo.
No,
seriously.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. Wait. I have to tell you something. I'm having difficulties believing this whole thing about energy and this and that.
I also have video of what happened.
Tell me what the situation was, then we'll watch the video.
All right. We were gonna go meet at dinner. I went home after work. She was already at the restaurant. I went home to go take a shower. I went downstairs. I got a beer. I was on my way back up the stairs, and I started hearing some weird noise going out of the bathroom. Excuse me.
That was
I'm
probably
telling
the beer
story,
you
all
were
right?
taking, pal.
So anyway, I walk upstairs. As I'm walking up the stairs, the noise is getting louder. I'm taking another step. I hear more. It's getting louder, and my hair is starting to stand on ends because what she was telling me, and with the pictures that we just saw, it was unnerving.
Okay.
I get up there, and the light's on in the bathroom. Not a problem. I peek in there, and then what I saw just freaked me out. I had this little can, and it was just a little metal can, and it was rocking
it's a
back
metal
and forth.
can.
You'll see in the
If
video.
you-
It's never a plastic
so
can
it
or a
makes
rubber can.
sense.
It's always a metal
Okay,
can. with you.
let's watch the video.
Okay.
Let's look at the video, please.
That's it. That's it. I ran in the other room. I got my phone when I saw this. I've never seen anything like that happen in my life. So I'm over there, waving my hand over.
What is that on top of? What's rocking there?
That's just
It's
like
a
hair
can.
moves, like hair gel.
Oh, it's
That's
like
all
a
it is.
hairspray.
But the beer's not
Yeah.
It's
moving.
like a
Look at the beer.
hairspray.
The beer doesn't move.
And it was simply just
Well,
rocking like that
It was
by
just rocking
itself.
like that. I walked in, I put the beer down, I'm filming it because I ran off and I started getting my camera.
If you were to move a can, it would just fall over. It
You're
wouldn't-
right. I mean, this
There's-
is definitely very strange.
Dr. Polo.
No,
seriously.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's see. Wait. There are no vibrations in the building. Nothing causes
nothing.
vibration.
He puts
See,
a
there's my
bottle
hand.
of
There's
beer.
my hand waving over it. There's no strings.
I
There's
can
nothing
see
attached
that
to
there's
it.
Yeah, I can see that too.
I couldn't explain that. And for me, that was enough. I went and got her. We went, and that was the first night we stayed in a hotel. And I didn't
Okay,
want
so
to go back there.
this night you stayed in a
Yeah,
hotel.
We
This
stayed
is-
5 nights total so far in a hotel, and I have the receipts.
We
to
haven't
prove
been
that.
able to sleep
So
there.
you put a beer. Why did you put the beer bottle?
So you can see
So
that
you
there's
can see
nothing.
there's a
yeah.
difference there, and that
Yes.
nothing else was
Exactly.
causing the beer to
Yeah.
move.
No,
the
no,
beer's
I
not
walked
made out
in
of
with
metal,
the beer.
Your
I put
Honor.
the beer there, and then
Well, what's the
beer
difference
wasn't
between
moving.
the metal and
Exactly.
the
Then somebody
bottle?
could be why didn't he open up the cabinet to see if
That's
maybe they got
ridiculous.
somebody under there with a magnet to play
who's
around
gonna
with
fit
it?
under there? There's
ridiculous.
nobody gonna
Illustrate-
fit under that cabinet.
That
It's
doesn't
gotta be
even make
silly.
sense.
The other house next to it, both bathrooms aligned. Who's to say? They're crooked. They did something.
mean
but
We're
crooked? How
crooked.
dare you say
We've
that?
been
Well,
paying
that's
our
a
rent
fact.
on
Moving like
time.
that.
Every time I
Wait,
tell
wait,
this guy
wait,
something,
wait a
he
minute,
says
wait a
something
minute.
ridiculous like that.
Before you keep on making accusations, Why are you saying they're crooked? They've been paying the rent. I can see the receipts in here. I mean,
Every
there's
Pay
month
the
no
I
rent.
reason
see
they
the
need to
bill.
call
They-
them
they-
crooked.
They
hotels
did pay
were
the
received.
Okay,
rent.
let me see your
They
receipt
did
for
give
the
you
hotel room.
deposit.
He's
Let me
been
see
very
it.
belittling.
He's just building up a case, staying at a hotel to say, hey, look,
Because
now
we
all of a
don't feel
sudden I
safe.
can't.
Because we don't feel safe there.
Let me
It's-
tell you
it's
something.
terrifying.
If I move into a place where a lot of inexplicable things start to happen, and I cannot find a reasonable explanation, I'm going to feel uncomfortable. All right, what else happened?
There was a previous person that was living there that actually had almost the same experiences that we did, and he never disclosed that to us. Because
What
if
did
you
I
would
have
have,
to
if
disclose
you would
to
have
you?
disclosed that to us,
Disclose
we wouldn't have
what?
took your apartment.
Disclose what?
Disclose
The-
that there was
the
odd
other-
things
yeah.
happening there.
Okay,
What happened?
all right, perfect. So we'll talk about that later. All right. So I want to hear, what do you
Here's
think?
the deal. Pictures turned around in a refrigerator and a bottle that moves. What happens is they moved into the French Quarter, which is pricey. They were able to pay the first and second month and give the deposit, and they ran out of money, and they're just
please.
grabbing
We
onto
have a
That's
something. to
job.
get
ridiculous.
out.
He just
Can
makes
you
things up
say
off the top of his head.
That's what I'm saying.
You
You're
have
just
no
accusing-
evidence
saying-
that they ran out of money.
Exactly.
Both of them are employed.
Okay.
They have jobs. If you could prove to me that they ran out of
There's
money.
nothing in the contract that says if there's ghost, if there's disclosure, if there's
No, there's
this,
certain,
there's
there
that.
are things that you have to have full disclosure of certain things, and
Full
certain things
disclosure
like that.
of what?
Like the
Maybe the
previous
place is
owner
haunted. Maybe somebody
complaining.
died there. We don't know
The
what
Yes,
previous-
happened.
Dr. Polo.
Was this apartment rented prior to them?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
For 2 years to a young lady.
To a young lady.
Yes, I've owned it 10 years, and 4 people have lived there, an average of 2 years more or less each.
Okay. The lady lived there for 2 years. Did she have a 2-year lease agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the witness that,
Yes,
that, you,
that's the
that
witness.
you brought in?
Exactly.
The plaintiffs claim that there's strange activity going on. I'm having trouble believing it. We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll watch.
There are old houses that spirits live there, and some families or some people they're okay with, so there's no problem. But if somebody arrives in that home that spirit or entity that's there does not like, they will make their life impossible to move them out because they feel that's their home.
Okay, so I've seen the evidence, but I'm still a skeptic, and I'm a lawyer, and I believe that contracts are contracts. So your position is that they're doing this because they just want to get out of the rental agreement, not because
Yes,
anything
Dr.
strange
Polo.
is really happening.
Yes, Dr. Polo.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's bring the witness in. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Polo.
So tell me, Jennifer, your experience at this particular apartment.
So I lived there for 2 years, and for the first year and a half, I never had any paranormal activities, nothing that went wrong. I never felt weird until I gave birth, and I brought my baby home, and it took about a week before I started noticing something weird, different. The air felt heavy when I walked in. The baby wouldn't stop crying, and I know, newborn babies cry, but
Right.
you feed them and they go to sleep, and eventually they stop. Mason would not stop crying until we would leave the house, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I thought I was being a bad mom.
What was the worst experience you had in this apartment? The worst
So-
activity you had in there?
So one night I was sleeping, and the baby monitor woke me up, but Mason was right next to me, not making a peep. And what came out of the baby monitor was a woman's voice, like an older lady whispering to me. And it sent chills down my spine. Like, even talking about it, I get just scared. And then that same night, I went trying to go back to sleep. I saw a shadow pass by the room. And after that, I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't have my child in here. And so I went and I stayed with my mom. And when I ended my contract, I kindly told, Mr. Clark about the activities that were going on and everything that happened to me while I was there. And I didn't want to renew my lease. I needed to get out of there.
Dr.
Polo,
Polo,
it's
we
a
felt he
two-way
should have
radio.
disclosed that.
Any radio signal around the two-way radio is going to be picked up. It could be a trucker. It could be the neighbor with another
He's got an excuse for
walkie-talkie.
everything. He's
It's
always,
not an
because
excuse.
you're
It's
always
the
belittling
facts, Cal.
everything.
But you
First
know,
of all,
no,
you
wait
didn't say
a
that.
minute.
Come
but
on.
Wait a minute.
This is-
Listen to me. He's got a reasonable
baby crying.
explanation.
The baby's
Yeah, but
6
he's
months
But what
only
he's
talking
saying
about the
to
baby
us is
crying.
not totally
Your baby stopped crying after
unreasonable
you
or,
left.
or fantastious.
But he's not giving the whole story of what he was told by this lady.
What story?
I live in a legal world. I don't know. My job is to make legal decisions.
Of course,
Not
but
something
You,
Things
know,
are
you
unexplainable.
understand?
Dr. Polo,
and
nothing
we're
says
talking
so.
about things that are so difficult to prove.
That's why we
Right?
read the videos and the pictures, because
That's why I
otherwise
grabbed the
people
camera.
would think
And
we're
I
crazy.
appreciate that evidence because, again, it looks very genuine. It looks legitimate.
Then common sense
It
kicks
looks
in.
like it's not being a trick. I mean, it's not like a door opens and closes where you can
Yeah.
put like a string, a fishing string, and it looks like, you know, you can
And it's
you
a
can play
metal
tricks.
can. It's a metal
It's so hard to
course
explain
it's
these kind of
metal.
things.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. We have an expert in this case. Let's welcome Mr. Hector Espinosa, who is a psychic medium. Good afternoon, Mr. Espinosa.
Good afternoon.
First of all, tell me this. You're a psychic medium. This is something that you're born with, right?
Yes.
Or that you develop through life.
Well, it's like exercise. You have a certain ability, but the more you work it, the better you get at it.
Okay, for how long have you been working at it?
Full-time, 17 years.
All right. Now, you've been listening to the case.
Yes.
You've seen some of the evidence, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to tell me anything without having been in the apartment?
Well, I can tell you that most of what they spoke of are things that can happen in that world. Nothing is black and white, and many things happen that we have no explanation or no reason. So the objective is to find out whether that house is truly haunted or not. Now, there are old houses that spirits live there, and some families or some people they're okay with, so there's no problem. But if somebody arrives in that home that that spirit or entity that's there does not like, they will make their life impossible to move them out because they feel that's their home and not the people that are renting or living there.
Is there anything they could do to eliminate these phenomenal acts from happening?
Plenty of things to do.
Like, for example?
For example, depending on the type of house and the flooring, they can clean the floor just with vinegar. But don't, like most homes, they dry it out. Leave it to evaporate. The next day, they can come in with sage, smoke it out. If it's a very light negative energy, it will go away. If it's a spirit that lives in that house, then you got to make physical contact with that spirit and try to dialogue and help it along, understanding that it's not alive and it doesn't no longer belong here. And you try to help it move into the light, away from
Sorry, Dr. Polo,
That's
I
something
can't go
that's
through
beyond our
that.
control. I mean, we don't know how to do that. I can't let her go through
I'm
that
not
anymore.
doing that.
Just buy some vinegar. And
But that should be something that you should
You
be
should
doing
have
because
done
you're
it.
the
You already
owner,
knew
right?
about it.
Why do
You're
I
the
have to
owner.
go mop your floors?
You already knew about these
Mr.
spiritual things
Espinosa,
going on.
do you sense something here in this studio right now? Around them, around the landlord?
In my opinion, whatever's happening to them is in that house and not on them directly.
It's not related to them, it's related to the space.
Correct.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Espinosa.
Thank you, sir.
It's been very enlightening. All right. Listen, I'm having a tough time with this case, I have to tell you. I'm sincere. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll explore this a little more. Don't go away. I have disclosed to the tenants that there has been paranormal activity reported in this apartment at other times, and they sign it, and you're free of every problem. I don't see the damages here, except that you guys are just uncomfortable. And you're scared.
I can't sleep.
You are scared
She
of
can't
things that really are. They're strange.
Well, today it's pictures. Tomorrow it could be nights.
Can
I
it-
mean,
can
who
it get
knows?
worse?
It could be anything. Who knows? I mean, you can ask this man. I mean, anything can happen.
I mean, really.
In time, the longer they're around that kind of energy, the more it acclimates to them and knows how to play with them.
See?
I don't want to deal with that. I don't
I
feel
can't
safe.
she's not even
gets
going to go to
easier.
work anymore. And then it's going to affect me. Then we're not going to have any jobs.
The worst thing you can have in your life is a tenant who doesn't want to be living in the space they're living.
And that's understood.
They're going to make your life impossible.
But at the end of the day,
Do you hear me?
it's hurting my pocket.
I know it's going to hurt your pocket, or you're going to find the next tenant who's not going
It
to
is New
care.
Orleans.
But it takes
Okay,
forever to
listen.
find a tenant.
Oh, it
But
takes.
you
It takes
haven't had a
forever to.
problem.
Okay, maybe that's why you did not disclose to them the fact that she had told you that
That a
she
baby
had
was crying.
experienced some very bad events in that house.
I just didn't think it didn't merit
You know,
Of course it
a baby crying,
Listen,
a two-way radio.
She told you more than that. She
I
told you
so that
about
you
the
would tell other
energy. She told you about the shadows. She told you about the radio. She told you she had to live out of the apartment for the last 2 weeks of the lease because she just couldn't be there. And I think that your failure to have told them, you could have told them. You could have said, listen, I have to tell you something. The last tenant that lived in this apartment reported some activity that can be considered paranormal activity. I am explaining this to you. I'm exposing you what I've been told so that you can make a free will decision on what to do regarding this lease. Not only that, you should include it in your lease. You should include a paragraph in your lease that says,
paranoia
I
alert.
have disclosed to the tenants that there has been paranormal activity reported in this apartment at other times.
I'm not a
and they
paranormal-
sign it, and you're free of
I'm not an
every
expert
problem.
to call it paranormal or
But you
not.
should at least say something.
I'm sorry, but you know that they call it paranormal, and you know exactly what
Louisiana.
paranormal is because this term has now become mainstream. So I think we should all be
Chupacabra.
aware of the world we live in, and we should comply with the law. There are other states that require you to tell the tenant if there's been a suicide, a murder,
Understood.
or a terrible experience in
Understood.
that house. It was your obligation to tell them, to inform them. You did not. I grant your petition, and this is how I rule.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.